All right, now let's look at guardrails. Okay, so guardrails essentially Mosaic's pre-session market briefing. Okay, so its job is to answer the question before the market opens. Where is price most likely to hold, reverse, accelerate, or break? So rather than relying on a single indicator or data source, the guardrails tiles here combine multiple layers of information to build essentially a map for the session ahead. So first layer, macro context. So this includes economic events, central bank activity, major news developments, anything that are potential catalysts to influence market behavior. So goal obviously not to predict the news, but it's just to identify what the market is paying attention to today. Second layer is price action. So analyzes how the market has recently behaved to identify areas where buyers and sellers have shown meaningful interest at different levels. So these aren't theoretical levels drawn on the chart, they're grounded in actual market behavior. Third layer is options positioning. This helps identify structural influences from market makers, large call walls, put walls, gamma regimes, dealer positioning. Okay, so these can really help explain why markets sometimes remain contained, or they trend strongly, or suddenly accelerate to levels. Okay, so if you've ever been in the situation, I know I was before I kind of started learning these environments where you just shake your head, the market's rallied 80 points in 40 minutes. It's just gone berserk one way or another. It's collapsed. And I always struggled to understand why those moves happened in the absence of any catalyst. You'll find that these really do help explain those moves, okay? Particularly, the gamma regime, the bull and bear vacuums, etc. Okay, they really do explain behind the scenes why those kind of moves happen. And hopefully you can be ready for them. Finally, guardrails incorporates known flow events, calendar effects that can influence market behavior. So as I said, result is kind of a market map designed to give you a bit of context before the day begin. So each market here, obviously the three markets get their own briefing. So we've got the current gamma regime, so giving you a quick sense of what is the the structural environment. I'd really be paying attention when this turns short. That's when market makers are positioned to really chase moves, and that's when you often see some of the really large, violent moves in one direction. We've got containment zone. This is the area where the price is likely to remain balanced if the current conditions stay the same. Key option levels, major call walls, put walls, any unpin or breakout triggers. Then we've got the responsive zones, vacuum zones. So responsive zones are areas where the market has a higher probability of finding support or resistance. Vacuum zones are areas where the price may move more freely if it enters them. There's less structural support around those areas, so you often see very large, fast moves through those levels. Macro assessment and narrative summary. This pulls together everything the model is seeing and just converts it into plain English, essentially. So I think that's about it. Again, purpose of this isn't to tell you what trade to take. It's just, again, as with everything on Mosaic, to understand the environment that you're trading in. So, a very simple example here, and again, as I keep repeating, these are just additional context for you, to help your trades. But if we look at, this is obviously for Friday. If we look at some of these levels here in terms of the short, we obviously had that big rally Friday, short responsive zone, 8812. So this area here, again, we had, what's that, about an hour of kind of rotating around this area. Again, it doesn't mean that you're not going to stake your life on these levels, but it's just, again, additional context to know that there is something around these levels in terms of options positioning that potentially could serve as support, resistance, etc. Just be aware of in your trading. And then we've got this bull vacuum here. So you can kind of see that, again, this was a level that the market hit late on Friday and couldn't quite push through it. But what that's essentially saying was if it could kind of get a foothold over here, there's really not much stopping it. In terms of if there's a catalyst or something for a push higher, there's not much to stop it heading up through this range here. So just something to be aware of. But yeah, that's the guardrails. So again, just providing that structure before the opening bell each day.